Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I'm going to share with you a clip from a recent live event. In this one, myself and Walking Keys are going to get into topics around rebellion and why land wasn't a priority. But also we need to talk about profitability, runway. This is a deep conversation where we're exploring our concerns around the game and why we still walk in confidence. I hope you'll stick around for this one. I hope you go check out NFT Gaming and Collectibles. Also, special thank you to Golden Skeeter, who was hanging out during this one too. And guys, thanks so much. Have an amazing day. God bless. I think we need to, for me, there's a line in the sand where if land 1.5 is not out in November, that's a big yellow flag. This thing needs to get out. It's been too long. Right now, Rebellion is creating a tension on DEC price point, driving it near peg. We need to kick that into overdrive by throwing land out. Get it out. It needs to happen, and that will create. We're going to push even closer to the flywheel. This is really important that it happens soon. If we stumble here between now and Christmas and we don't get 1.5 out, that's a huge stumble. And then I have one more benchmark. Two more benchmarks. I want to see 40% of land launch when it launches, and I want to see land 2.0 by like June of next year. If those three things happen, I'm super bullish still. If they fail to happen, I'm constantly reassessing. That's how I feel. You know, you've shared some of your skepticism recently, Keys, like on your own channel, just talking about how you're not going to go very hard on Rebellion. You've got some, like, what would constitute success for you, Walking Keys, in the next for this game in the next 6 to 9 months? Like, what are the benchmarks for success that would, you know, reinvigorate a degree of confidence for you?
Well, dude, first of all, thank you for having me on. I appreciate you. Very excited to be here. Yeah, I've been listening in the background, so I'm not coming in completely blind. You know, I think a lot of your benchmarks are kind of close to mine as well. With Rebellion, I decided to personally stay out of the pre-sale completely. I'm not even looking at buying any packs during the pre-sale because I've done that before many times. I mean, Genesis League and then Tower Defense are two recent ones that I've participated in, and those pack values have plummeted since. I think I need to see that it works. I love the new system they came up with, how if you hold them, you get airdrop points, and you got to do the wagons and all that. I think that's great. I think they're really trying to fix some of the issues. But for me, I'm still going to wait and see how this works out. My biggest worry is that so much DEC and all the big wallets that are in right now are buying Rebellion, and Rebellion snuck in before land. And so I think land is still critical for the success of the game, long term and short term. And a lot of DEC has been burnt or, you know, used to buy packs. Now that DEC is not going to go to land. So I think in one way, Rebellion could keep us from getting to that 40%, that 40% number that you're talking about.
Interesting.
And I hope it doesn't.
Okay.
But that's my biggest concern, is that Rebellion just crippled land.
Interesting. Okay, so that you're saying like it takes some of the wind out of the sails of what land we were imagining land might be, and if that's so, that could be really an impediment to, for instance, Flywheel. Is that kind of where your head goes?
Yeah, I mean, land is needed for everything, you know. Rebellion is needed just for the company. Rebellion was there to generate revenue for the company, and they have to figure out how to generate revenue. I'm not mad at them for that. But as far as what the community needs, we technically don't need another set right now. We need land to start burning through these cards, to burn through this DEC, to stake all the DEC on our land, to get that going. We don't need to add more cards to the supply. So by doing it backwards, I think it's really hurt land. And one of my lines in the sand is, if it didn't hurt land, then the community is vibrant and ready, and will withstand this run, you know, this bear run.
Wow.
But I'm definitely nervous now, and land is really, even for me personally, now I'm not as worried about land as I was a couple months ago.
Wow. That's really interesting the way you say that, because I hadn't really thought about it that way. I guess I've been expecting that people will just get themselves ready for land. Like I, for instance, sold 450,000 DC in the last couple of days. One, to buy one gold foil Oceanus, which I felt was dirt cheap, and then two, to buy 100 Rebellion packs. But I'm gonna replenish that 500,000 DC, and I'm still gonna launch my land. But I felt I need these Rebellion. I think this Rebellion set is so different, and it really is not. It's not really, to me, it's not really optional. It's like you need to have these cards if you want to play it. I play a Diamond Champion. I need them, and if I get a really good Rebellion set, I think it's gonna set me up for like a high performance Champion League, team for months and months, maybe years to come. But I hear what you're saying, and not everybody's going to be in the same boat as me, as being able to just like, I'll liquidate my other crypto, $500 or $1,000 of it, to make my land go well. Even though I don't want to do that, because I need the 500,000 or $1 million DC to launch my land. But not everybody's going to do that.
If Bitcoin, if all these big regulations are about to be lifted off of Bitcoin for the banks, it's harder for me to think that buying Rebellion packs are going to benefit me, in the long run compared to Bitcoin as far as financially. If I'm looking at it just as an investment.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, I can play with them and earn SPS and that stuff too. But am I willing to sacrifice the Bitcoin that I've been, and I don't even have that much, or any other crypto that I've been holding on to for this entire bear, just to get into some packs or something? Or, it just makes me nervous, to be honest. But I haven't given up at all. I'm just a lot more cautious than I was in mid-August.
Yeah, no, that's I like what you're saying. It's really thoughtful. What I'm hearing is, for instance, if I'm holding BTC, and in this moment with BTC moving, like almost doubled in the last, I forget how long, but it was near 15,000, and now we're at 28, 29.
1 year.
Yeah.
1 year, it's up 50%.
So, that's a gigantic improvement. And you say to yourself, like, well, I'd rather ride my BTC than move into Rebellion. First of all, I don't have BTC. I have like altcoins, which are up from where I bought them, because I've held them for years, but they are not where I expect them to go. So I would be like maybe selling future opportunity for like current. But I think what I want to say is, whether it's BTC or XRP or ADA or whatever token you like, at a moment like this, if you're not already soaring on like 500%, 10x already on whatever you've got, which most people aren't, then you're really moving around assets hoping that you're going to catch one green candle and then have an opportunity later to move into a different green candle. That's what we're usually doing when we sell one asset for another. So like, is Rebellion going to pre-sale? And I think the answer is probably no. But is Rebellion pre-sale going to be so juicy in terms of those promo cards, which are limited in number, or even the gold foils that are going to come out of the packs? Some of them they're going to be exceedingly rare at first. And maybe those price tags are going to be well worth the $4 or $3.60 per pack you're paying in a short term, which would allow a return to some other things. But you're just juggling then, is what, and you have to be careful about that sort of play.
Well, let me ask you this, and this is with Rebellion. I think what they've done is brilliant, as far as keeping the packs, in the wagons, and you get airdrop points if you have cards, but you can still play them. I think that's freaking brilliant. But what happens when the airdrops stop? I can't help but believe every pack that's excess, every card that's excess is going to hit the market, and people will start dumping them, especially for whatever else comes next. Let's say that's on right before Land 2.0.
Yep.
So if you're really looking at building a Rebellion deck for the long term, I don't understand why you would buy now.
Okay, so that's
kind of where
that's a great conversation. I want Skeeter, you hop in there, buddy. But just I love that comment. But go for it, Skeeter.
I'm buying some packs to support the team that's out, but I'm really not trying to buy singles for like 3 to 6 months out after seeing chaos prices just dip so hard.
Oh, so I I hear like that makes a lot of sense to me, what you just said, Skeeter, because the price of cards you've always seen them, Rebellion, Untamed, even like we just talked about Kitty a half an hour ago. Some of these cards have dropped off and dropped off and dropped off. Why would I buy them? Why would I rush out the gate to fill my boots? I mean, there's the one thing, like it's fun to play with them. Two, it's going to set you apart and maybe give you more winning opportunities. If it does, that's more SPS. So part of what I wanted to say earlier to you, Keys, and it's touching on this topic too, is like, if you have the opportunity to set yourself apart today in the rank experience of Splinterlands, and I think Rebellion will do this in a big way. The different summoners and the different abilities and all that stuff. I think this is gonna be really helpful. So then, if you win more, you get more SPS. SPS, I like Bitcoin. I do. I like Ethereum. I like a lot of these coins. A lot of the top 10. But man, SPS is so small that it could theoretically do 100x when some of those coins do a 10x. And maybe I'm wrong about that. Like maybe this game doesn't get but I feel like I'm swinging for a home run as I prepare and plan and grow my SPS bag. Whereas I could play like for base hits by holding Bitcoin or holding Ethereum, because those things are, I think, truly going to change our world. And I think one day we see $1 million Bitcoin. I believe that. I think Ethereum really is set apart as like and I think you see growth and growth and growth. But I think you can see outsized returns on some smaller tokens like SPS if the game does what it's supposed to do. And we got to come back now to confidence, because you pointed to like, I haven't seen a lot of W's. We need to see some things happening right. I want to see this go well. But I'm saying if we wait a year to see those reduced Rebellion card prices, in that for 12 months, you're not going to be enjoying the same rewards that I'm going to be, because I'll beat you more often than not, I think, with some of these summoners, especially these tactic summoners. And so then, are you sacrificing SPS income? And I think definitely in tournaments you will be. So I don't know. I mean, that's hard to measure, and that is a bit of a it's not very, let's say, it's very risky, because you're gambling on a smaller token SPS in opposition of like a bigger token with like a Bitcoin. But I am here for the outsized returns. I'm not here because I think, well, I like the game first, but second of all, I'm playing this and I'm trying to get more of these assets because I think there's really outsized return possibilities here. I'm not looking for 10x. I'm looking for like 100x, 1000x on some of these things. And I think those are realistic possibilities at some point in the future. How does that weigh in? Because what I'm saying is there's a short-term loss if you don't have these assets. Does that at all bother you? And I'd like to hear both your answers, but maybe you first, Keys.
Yeah, I mean, real quick, I mean, I do think it has the potential to be I don't know about 100x, but it definitely could go up a lot, more than probably Bitcoin in a small amount of time. But I don't think it's as guaranteed. Yes. And knowing that the team just, basically, I don't know what else they have in the hopper to push SPS up over that amount without a major catalyst from the Bitcoin market or the overall crypto markets, bringing attention back to Web3 and getting people into gaming, So I think there's a lot of time. So I think if my thing is I'm not ready to take that big of a gamble right now. But I'm also not taking a bunch out of Splinterlands either. I'm not like, selling everything. I'm just trying to be smart about what else goes in. Like I've got a big enough piece of the pie that it's not worth the gamble at this point.
Yeah, I like that. I hear what you're saying. I am going to push back a little bit, but I'm going to let Skeeter go. I just want to say quickly, 100x is like $1 for SPS, and then like 1000x is a $10 SPS. I know those are, to some people, the ridiculous numbers, but I really believe those are possible. Now, I'm not saying probable hear me. Is it a 1% chance? Is it less? I don't know, but possible to me when you start getting into, doing the math on like, if you've got 200,000 SPS and you times that by, $1, that's a life-changing amount of money for most people in the world from a video game. And $10 is like, what's just happened? Like but now again, you might think never, not going to happen. But I don't put it to me, and it's my money and this is my investment, and everybody does differently. But I'm just saying that is not having a 0% probability. Like I think there is some possibility we get there, and I would go on to, and one last thing, Skeeter, before I want you to get in here. You said, what other catalysts do we have? And I think LAN 1.5 is one that's going to follow up really soon. If it follows up on like really soon, we've already got DEC almost at peg. That will help, even though I have to admit your point, Keys, about how the DEC might have been allocated to Rebellion and now it's going to hinder the launch of land. If land launches in that 30 to 40% range of plots of land activated, I think we see DEC reach peg. And then if land 2.0 comes out in the next 6 to 9 months, I think we really do see some fireworks around SPS Flywheel. So those are my next catalyst conversations that are really still, to me, there is more gunpowder that Splinterlands has to work with. They've got more ammo to throw at this. Skeeter, thoughts on any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think SPS and Splinterlands could easily 10x that, assuming Matt can get funding for the next few years, like he was talking about, to not worry about it and scrambling around for revenue generation tactics. Then I think almost like 30x is like very likely, like over 2/3, 80% likely in my mind. Just once the game comes around and survives this full bear and comes back into bull, and then 100x seems like pretty likely as well, and 1000x also seems, it sounds crazy, but I think that could also happen as well. And so I think, just all these asset prices and stuff I'm trying to look at is not check the values of my account every day or even every week or every month. I just kind of ignore, because I believe in the game and believe in this project that like things will turn around, and crypto is so volatile that you have to have a really hard mentality when it comes to not being so emotionally struck by all the volatility of things going up and down so much in a year. Like, it just averages out with a long enough time horizon with a successful project.
Two comments here, and then I'd love to hear some more thoughts from you, Keys. But Stock Jockey first says, what he said, right on, Keys. So, you're not the only one, and I share some of those thoughts too, Keys. Like I'm not impervious to your logic there. But then Brandon says, Rebellion isn't about cards. It's about company revenue, which land does not bring, and game playing excitement, resetting modern/new actions, not necessarily in that order. And I agree with what he's saying. It's I think there's one point I wanted to add, and then Keys, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Any direction you want to go. But Matt was saying he wanted to sell 250,000 pre-sale packs. He was saying he wants to sell 1.5 million, I think, or 1.5 to 2 million in the Rebellion set. And if he does that, he seems satisfied, and I believe he's satisfied. Though I don't think he's. I trust him. Like I think he speaks the truth. I think he really believes those numbers would be adequate. And I think that I heard Aftersound talk about this. And he goes, it's not that would set the company forever, but that gives them the runway that they feel they need to see land do what it's going to do, and to let conversations happen, because you know what, what conversations are going to happen after Rebellion pre-sale, even probably right now, are already happening. He's having conversations with investors, and he's saying like, look, terrible bear market, like things are like, I mean, yes, Bitcoin's up, but man, everything else is like, we've been in this for a while, and yet we sell 250,000 packs at $5 a pop. Yes, with voucher costs, reducing it to $4 in 8 hours. And that's a big deal. And if we start to get more of those sales happening, and that not only is it helping the company, remember, it's helping the DAO. It's all part of like a sales pitch to me, to how we find and secure future value and runway. So I think we can't set that aside. But regardless, I hear you. Land is more important to the fullness of this game than another pack set. I don't know if what you want to say on that, Keys, but any angle or direction you want to go, I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, I think Stockjockey said something that's very important that I think should be one of the main concerns of the company. You know, I mean, who am I to really tell them what to do? But he said that the rebellion is for the company to make money, you know, but land is for everything else. You know, why haven't they built a way to make money into land? Like, make money out of land, make money out of everything you're doing. Like, have the company make money off of land. Like, not having it generate revenue seems like a major error. Why isn't it making money? Like, it doesn't, I don't understand this. Every game I've ever played, whatever new thing they put out, it's around money. It's downloadable content. It's a new edition. It's new skins. I mean, it's something. Figure out a way to generate revenue from all this work you're doing. Or why are you doing the work? You're not a company. You're just building stuff. So I would like to see the company put on its company hat and really start figuring out how to generate revenue, how to become, so they're not dependent on moving things around to build a runway. Like, everything that we're saying are red flags in the investment world. You know, they've changed the launch date of something to get revenue, to give them a runway. You know, these are all red flags. They've had 2 firings, like 2 rounds of firings. These are red flags. All of that being said, I think what they're doing is with Rebellion is brilliant. And I feel like they're really truly giving themselves a chance for success. And a lot's going to depend on the effectiveness of land. But I also think, you know, they need to figure out how to make money in land, especially in land 2.0. There needs to be a revenue stream. Time crystals, even if they made the revenue from time crystals, then that's a way to make revenue. So, because that's a direct reflection on how well they built the game. If people enjoy it, they'll buy time crystals. If they don't, they don't. But why not make money off land?
I hear you. Skeeter, I want to hear your thoughts on that. Do you have any thoughts about how land was designed and how it doesn't exactly put money directly in the team's pockets?
Yeah, I agree with Keys' point. They should be able to monetize some more things instead of releasing like a really expensive Zyra promo, which didn't really sell well. So yeah, I agree. It's a good point. Maybe they mint more totems and the totems go directly to their teams. I think they could do something like that. But I'm gonna have to head out as well.
Okay, good to see you, buddy. And thanks for popping by. I appreciate you. Keys, I only got about 15 minutes and I got to go get the kids, but I want to kick around this topic a bit more, because you're saying, you know, why doesn't land produce more resources? And we want the team to have sustainability, but that means we want them to have ongoing revenue, not like, you know, you got to create this expansive set and stop other developments. So you're making Rebellion or whatever the next one is, you know, does feel like non-sustainable. It feels like non-optimal. So I'm with you, but between battle wagons, grain sales, time crystals, and the burn mechanics that are built into those, plus land and how it doesn't burn DC, but it stakes it, and it stakes cards. My pushback or question, I guess, is do you agree that those mechanics, although they don't put money directly into Splinterlands' pocket, they are all aiming at one focus, which does put money into the Splinterlands' pocket. The one focus of what land will be or ought to be is about creating flywheel movement, which reduces supply of SPS, which drives up value for SPS. It reduces supply of DC there, which necessitates burning of SPS. All of that is absolutely aiming at putting money in the hands of the developers and the team, because they are massive SPS holders too. And so that's part of it. I don't hear a lot of people say that, but absolutely. And even we have to have questions that would raise questions about how will they liquidate those bags? Are they going to sell on our heads? You know, even with the Rebellion pack, they're accepting DC. That's money they need for runway. That means they need to sell that on us, right? So there's a push and shove here, or I mean, a question. a critique about this situation that is probably needs to be raised. But do you agree that the what land should do would enrich Splinterlands as a company indirectly?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it should.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't. But it's not a business model. You know,
Fair
it's
enough.
not. That's not. You can't count on that. You know,
Yeah.
if you have 1,000 people playing the game and SPS doesn't move, you're not generating, you're not gaining value. You know. But if you had something that where you were making $1,200 or $1,100 a day from just people doing stuff, interacting or buying stuff that helps them on their land or whatever, then that's revenue they can count on, or whatever, however much it is. And you don't want to nickel and dime the users, but there needs to be ways that the company can make revenue outside of just these big events, or we wouldn't be in the problem we're in now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we wouldn't have runway issues like we do now, because SPS has dropped, you know, from 7.5 cents at this point last year to 1.3 cents. You know, and even if it did, they would still have money coming in, because without Rebellion, there hasn't been any big cash infusion or any regular cash infusion since Zerial, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think that was any. I don't think that was very big either. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, the company needs to make more money. You know, whether they're now, if the DAO should be able to pay the company to build stuff like they did with Rebellion. I think that's great. You know, because then they're getting money. The company is getting actual money. They don't have to sell SPS to pay devs, because then that pushes down the price of SPS. You know, the DAO can hold this and use it wisely and spin it with the company. And then the company just builds stuff for the DAO. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But we're a ways away from that. I think.
How long do you think we are? Because there was a comment in there. Larkin said, if you listen to Yaba, Yaba's and Steve's stream, then you know he said he wanted in time for the DAO to take over, make this game 100% decentralized. I believe that that's actually the plan, and that will happen. And if you look at with Rebellion and how the pre-sale is working, or how this pack sale is working, and how the DAO is getting half of that value, there's clearly a desire from Matt to see that DAO get put into a position where it can walk in that authority. He's creating literally, he's going to pour millions of dollars in through this pack sale. But is that going to solve this problem?
The DAO has no leadership. Well, the DAO has no leadership. Like, what is the DAO? You know, it's just proposals now, and you know, that's a tough way to run a business. You know, to run, like, how are we going to do a proposal? Hey, let's build another set, and that set needs to come out in January, and then is that the proposal? And then how detailed do we get? Does it have 80 cards? Does it need to have new functionality? Like, how is the DAO going to be able to ask Splinterlands to build stuff without being under the hood?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, but it's a hard one to answer, because the question requires us to have behind the, like you say, but under the hood view, or behind the scenes. I do think that we can get to a place where decentralized governance works entirely. And I think,
I agree.
I think even like what we saw around, like there has been a lot of DAO proposals, and at times I think to myself, oh, some of these are not good. And I maybe I even would use a different word, a less pleasant word. But every time it either passes or fails, in my mind, that is the success of governance. That is people driving the ship with their power and authority earned or achieved or acquired through the SPS bag. And I think that I really believe that we can get to a place where that's sufficient. And I guess if we do, then what we're talking about, runway comes from the DAO. Runway comes from us. Ongoing income comes from us, because there's tons of ongoing income. Like, I mean, even there are things that could be reallocated, is what I'm saying. And decentralized governance can decide this. Like, there's fees for burning DEC on markets. Like, why not? Why doesn't that go to the company? There's fees for, I don't know, even when we burn, like you said, when you buy time crystals or when you buy grain, when Land 1.5 launches, you're going to be buying from Splinterlands, and there's 1 DEC for 1 grain, or I think 100 DEC for a time crystal, and those are just burnt. But we could make a proposal and put that in the fund in the hands of the company. And you're right, they probably should have done these things themselves. But in some sense, I think Matt really drink the, and I say that this might sound disparaging. I don't mean it to be. I think Matt has drank the Kool-Aid around crypto. I think he fully is on board with like decentralized governance. He is willing to ride that to wherever it goes. And so he's got full confidence that path of letting the DAO figure out how Splinterlands can get the money. That's what I think. I think he's so confident about that he's just going to let that roll. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest concern is the DAO needs to be taught how to make proposals. Most of the proposals that we have are just basically DEC manipulation proposals.
Yes.
Or SPS manipulation. Like they're not what we need to focus on as a DAO. We don't need to focus on the tokenomics as much as if we're going to be put in charge of the game, we need to focus on the game. What is going to make this game great? Is it different draft modes? Is it different tournament styles? What can we do to put together a marketing campaign?
Yeah.
Why don't we put together a retention campaign and create some type of card to reactivate everyone that hasn't played in the last 12 years and try to get them reactivated into the game and do like a special campaign there. So the challenge of having the DAO being put in control, if it happens now or in any real quick timeline, the DAO doesn't know how to run a company. No, I mean, there might be individuals that know what's going on or know things, but as a DAO, and how are we going to, we need to be trained on how to give Splinterlands, the company, proposals that can be voted on that then they can then enact. If the power is going to be put into us, we need to know how to control that power. Because without that, we're just going to get more of these, no offense, but BS, proposals about how they try to get DEC up, by 0.01. We need real proposals, like the bots out of Modern. That was a real proposal. A very clear definition. We want the bots out. How are we going to do that? We don't know how we're going to do it. The company, you figure it out. That's what this is for.
Yeah.
But we need to make proposals like that. Should we put on a proposal now for the next set to start getting them to do it? Are we going to pay them $250,000 to build the next set? What can we do with this? How can we run this company?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I hear you, and I think you're right to some extent, because we can't even, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and if you don't even understand what proposals are possible, like, and that's clear that the community doesn't always, like, you'll hear somebody on a town hall ask a question about something and you used to hear Aggo say, like, that's not even a DAO thing, like that's just like, that's not even a Splinterlands company thing, it's a DAO thing. So people don't always see the line in the sand, but I would push back and say, I think what we really need is community leadership. And I think we've talked about that. You guys you and Gank talked about that. Matt's suggesting somebody, right? Matt, and then you guys were like, what about Weirdbeard, right?
Gank's big on Weirdbeard.
Yeah. But I'm saying like, what I'm saying is that some form of leadership over that is probably important. I don't know who it needs to be. I'm saying that somebody, because to your point, like, there needs to be a driver in some sense behind even what the community can do, let alone what we want to do, and then bring those in a thoughtful way forward. And I do believe that those ideas can come from a decentralized community of content, like whether it's content creators like us that do this, talk about these things, and then we spark ideas. And then I think some of the best proposals have come from just people who like the game and throw out their own 100,000 DEC. So and it's okay if people throw out 100,000 DEC and it falls flat on its face. I don't see that as like a problem. I see that as what's the word? you know, that expression, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Because it's okay if some of the stuff, the crap doesn't float. It just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The good stuff comes to the top and we're like, hey, a second, this is a great idea. At times I hear them on like our lives. I hear somebody drop a comment. I'm like, well, that's interesting. Never thought of that. And then maybe it could, so I'm saying, I think we can do this even without knowing what we don't know. But I also think there's room for a little bit more community guidance, and that could come from like a DAO funded position. And that's what Matt seems to be suggesting.
Yeah, I mean, one thing to keep in mind too, man, is that Splinterlands is the first company to do this for gaming. Like, yeah, there's other games out there and stuff, but no one's trying to push decentralization and putting the hands back into the DAO, you know, like this. And because of that, it's going to be rough. It's going to be, we're going to have ups and downs. It's going to be challenging. But if the commitment is coming from Matt that he wants the hands or the power of the company to be in, or the power of Splinterlands to be in the control of the DAO, we need to be taught how, or we need to figure out how to make the appropriate proposals to push this game forward in the way that the community wants. So, you know, and I think we can do that. Like you said, I think you're right. I think we can get there, but it needs to be a concerted effort, and someone needs to be put in charge, and we need to know who that person is. It can't just be a screen name.
Yeah.
Because that delegitimizes what we're doing.
Yeah. And I think that
we need to add legitimacy.
Yeah. And it definitely does. If there's no face for the name of who's supporting us, and if we say things like, oh, you know, Matt and Aggro know who I am, again, they've got the control then, not the community. So it's like, who is your boss? Who is the person you're looking to represent? Is it the interest of Matt and Aggie or is it the interest of the community? I don't know the individual. I'm not trying to slander them. I'm just saying, I think it's really important that we have a face to a name, you know, whoever would handle that sort of position.
Yeah.
Dude, it's 1 o'clock. I got to go get the kiddos. Everybody in the live.
I understand that too.
Yeah. And
thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Keys, you're awesome, bud. I really enjoy our chats. I really enjoy you popping by. I really appreciate you guys doing your own content. Lately it's been getting spicy because you got your own takes that are a little, you're like feeling more bearish lately, and Gank's just his normal Gank. Everything's going to be amazing. So
I'm still positive, but I'm just nervous.
Sure. And I get that. And I am too. And that's why, no, hang on. I'm not nervous, but I am attentive to the possible concerns. And it is prudent to always do that. But right now I'm attending to it thoroughly. And that's why some of my content has shown that. But yeah, man, I appreciate all of you guys. This has been a really great chat. Lots of amazing comments. Appreciate, shout out to Skeeter for popping by, and Keys, I'd love to come back on and chat with you guys sometime soon. Maybe even next week. We'll see.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Thanks guys. Have an awesome day. Bye for now.